Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANS Gear, and we're looking at some regulators today. Now this is the Gen X2 regulator. This is a regulator that we had for a long time on a lot of our autocockers. So the Gen X, the GX3, the GX4. So it's a regulator that has been around forever. It's a very basic regulator in the way that it works internally, which makes it easy to service and just keep it running. Very consistent regulator. I use these on a couple of my guns, especially on my cockers, because I want them to look as unique and original as possible. So the setup is super nice on them. We got a ton of colors on these, as well as some polished versions. We have a gray, green, purple, and red polished version, and these are all dust finish over here. Now with this particular regulator, you've got an input port on the side right here. So you can have this come in on either side. We've got one side that's plugged up right here. You're not going to touch that one. You're not going to remove it. It's a burst disc on the side right there. But you can have your input on either side right here. And then on this portion, you can plug this, or you could put a gauge on it if you wanted to. So if you wanted to know the output of your regulator, you do have a gauge port, and you also have two input ports. So depending on where this screws into your gun, if your macro line that's going to come out of there, so right here, which we provide for you inside there, you could put it on this side if that's where it happens to screw in and end, or on the other side if that's where it happens to screw in and end. And then you'd want to plug the other side, and then gauge port is right there. So regulator disassembly and rebuild and ease of use. Very simple to use. We've got a twist bottom right here. So when you've got this out or unscrewed, that's going to reduce pressure. And you can have it all the way out to the point where there's no resistance on the spring pack on the inside, and it's just going to be at zero. It's not going to regulate. But as you turn this in, it is going to increase pressure through there. Now, if you had a gauge on this, you'd know obviously where your pressure was sitting on there. If you find that pressure that you're looking for and you want it to stop and you don't want it to adjust anymore, there is a ring on the bottom which you spin up to the top right there, and then you tighten that down. That locks the adjustment in place so that it cannot be rotated anymore, and it will hold that pressure consistently. Now when it comes to maintenance, it can't be easier. You just unscrew the bottom right off like that. That's going to allow you to get to your spring pack that's right there, which you'll never change or anything like that. Now inside here is your piston right there. So here's our piston assembly. You've got one O-ring on your piston, which you can get in the rebuild kit. It is a size 12, 90 durometer, the harder durometer, urethane or Buna. You've got that right there. So there's one O-ring that you might need to change. And then let me show you the other part that you might need to change if you were doing service. The easiest way to get these apart, because they are tight, is to put an Allen key into the burst disc slot. You're not going to unscrew the burst disc though. You're just going to use that to get leverage to unscrew the bottom of the regulator. Pull that apart, and then you've got one O-ring around the outside of this that's going to seal this housing up right here, and then your reg seat at the top. You can get all these parts in the rebuild kit. We have tons of them, but that's it. That's all the internals to your regulator. Your reg seat, this O-ring, and the O-ring on your piston, and the service is simple right there. Looking for an easy to use regulator that is consistent, lots of great colors. That's another problem with regulators these days. You don't find them in a lot of colors, but we've got all the colors you need for a regulator that's going to service and use long after probably the gun that it's on is going to last. So lots of colors to choose from. ANS X2 regulator, all sorts of colors. Get yours today at ansgear.com.